rogues, rascals, reviewables, rorts, rip-offs, receivers, real estate agents, and much, much more. This is the Mini R's Podcast, Season 1, Episode 8, our final episode for Season 1. My name is Mark Smith from DC Partner Solutions. Give us a call, 1300 327 123, or contact us, chat with us online, or use our instant chat tools, dcpartners.solutions/podcast. Well, in this episode, we're having a review of 2021. We're going to see our Mini R's, and where are they now? For some of the special R's. We're also going to have a look ahead at Season 2. So what is around the corner? Well, where do we start? A recap. Let's start with me personally. Been a little gap between Season 1, Episode 7.5 and Season 1, Episode 8, which is today. And I've had quite an adventure. Our last episode was on the 15th of September, and on the 1st of October, I had a huge awakening moment. And let's just have a look. This photo is a photo of my heart. Contrary to popular belief, there is a heart in there, and this is what a blocked artery looks like. And we're just going to go and have a look now at an unblocked one. And wow, this is a stent. I actually had a heart attack on the 1st of October, and this missing tree trunk here, this very faint line, is called my left anterior descending artery, and you can see just the tiniest bit of blood sort of getting through, and that was quite a crisis. So I've been I finished my studies in June on my sister's birthday, 16th of September. We moved house on the 28th of June, 28th, maybe 27th, and took up residence. COVID, the shutdown, Sydney went into 6 months of shutdown, more or less, or 5 months, or however long, and I graduated. I elected to graduate in absentia on the 6th of September for my Juris Doctor, and on the 1st of October, I got a very nasty dose of reflux, I thought, and I can assure you my Lanta and those sorts of things did absolutely nothing. I truly thought, I did not know I was having a heart attack. I thought I had an ulcer or a dose of reflux or something, but it turns out, no, there was a blocked artery, and a very important blocked artery, left anterior descending. It's called the Widowmaker. So I was going to drive myself to hospital, and good thing, well, I got my I really thought it was just reflux, so none of the pains in your shoulder. So for anyone that's watching this, just, you know, apparently it felt like a burning reflux right where most people's heart is. So I took myself off to hospital, and within a very short period of time, I'm talking 20 minutes, they're putting a stent into me, so restoring the blood flow. And I would like to, I'll just show you right here, that little dot there, that's a scar. No big chest openings. They go in through this tiny opening there, and I do have bruises everywhere now. Unfortunately, I'm on thinners and all sorts of stuff, so I bruise terribly now, but I'm alive, and I'm extremely grateful to wonderful doctors who put a stent into me very quickly. And I spent 5 days in hospital. So where are they now? Well, sorry, where's our year in review? Well, our blog has actually been on holidays. I had several days in hospital, no visitors due to COVID, and not even my darling wife. So I have great sympathy for those that have been isolated or doing it hard, and I feel like I feel much better since the heart attack. I do feel better. This blog has been actually on something of a holiday, and we've decided to at least wrap up Season 1 and give you a look at. We've had plenty of time to think, so not everyone has been pleasant to deal with in the aftermath, and we're going to talk about some of that. And in this particular episode, we're going to look at where are they now. So that's a wrap on the personal. So a number of people have said, well, where's our blog gone? Come the 1st of October, all the nasty letters, I had some of our R's even texting me on holiday, texting me in hospital on the very day I'm having my heart attack. They're texting me, and oh dear. So anyway, we decided to give our blog a bit of a rest for a couple of months. Well, you can be sure that not very many of these opponents have seen the light. Let's put it that way. So some of the blogs will be reintroduced, and well, here we are. Here's our farewell to season 1. So we're still thinking about all the issues. The blog's been on holidays, but many people have asked, well, where are they now? So I won't touch on COVID, but it has been obviously a very difficult period for many Australians and a lot of people that I know as well. I can't cut it. I can't go past Christmas 2021 without saying, well, I think our mate COVID, I think our mate Hakan is his visit with in Her Majesty's company. I think it's actually over. I think he's out of jail. So I mean, that's a where are they now? 131 NVR. That stands for 131 Mona Vale Road, St Ives, and that where is it now? It's in liquidation. And look, I'm hearing that there's big moves afoot. The liquidator, I'm owed. I continue to be owed thousands of dollars by that project, and well, I appointed the liquidator with the assistance of the Supreme Court of Victoria. A man called Gavin Moss and Chifley Advisory was appointed liquidator. Well, I'm hearing that the liquidator. We held public examinations of the directors of that corporation back in about February or March of 2020. Well, look, I'm hearing that the liquidator has found that the directors and MacArthur Projects. Let's put it this way: the liquidator wants something like between $7 and $12 million of the company's money back. So the liquidator is looking to the directors and to a company called MacArthur Projects. Now, I was actually there in the court, in the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Well, it was actually in the federal court. I think it was in front of a registrar, and 2 days were set aside for public examinations. And I was there, and one of the questions was, okay, so you owed Latrobe $7 million. Is that correct? Yes, that's right. And you repaid that? You did? Yes, that's correct. How much did you borrow to repay back the $7 million? And these are words to the effect. And this is all in the public arena. So in open court, it's fine for me to discuss it. How much did you borrow to pay back the $7 million? 12. 12. You borrowed 12 to pay back 7. Yes. Why'd you do that? Well, I'm just paraphrasing here. This is not. Why'd you do that? Don't remember. What did you do with the other 5? Don't recall. I mean, these are the sorts of questions that were asked. So, I mean, the liquidator's been sitting on this transcript for 12 months or 18 months or whatever, and he's now calling that in. Well, you didn't need the 12. You only needed 7. You borrowed. The company went down the toilet. The project 131 Mona Vale Road, St Ives, did not get finished. Now, exactly whose fault that is, I'm not saying whose fault it is, but that's a where are they now on 131 MVR. Now, let's have a talk about our other, this whole collective of mates. Craig Adams, Bargo Developments, now they're both in liquidation. Craig's in bankruptcy. Ralph Pellegaru, oh dear, one of his companies is in liquidation. I put that down. That was called Dural Alliances. Mohan Kumar, he recently had a brush with the Torrens Assurance Fund and lost. Justice Stark, we talked about that extensively in season 1, episode 7.5. John Marnie was his lawyer and unfortunately shot down. Now let's have a look at a few files. So for the rest of them, where are they now? Well, let's have a look. Ralph Pellegaru, he's suing Gary Steinberg. Ralph's suing Gary Steinberg and Reliance Leasing in the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Now, this is the most interesting case because it's gone precisely, absolutely nowhere. So, is it a fake lawsuit? I mean, you tell me. Let's just explore this just a tiny bit more. The question, is this a fake lawsuit? Like, is this a good question? Let's have a look at one of the basic requirements of a lawsuit is the solicitor. They've got to sign it. Okay, and John Marnie is a lawyer. He's been a lawyer for 40, 45, 50 years. I don't know, long time. John Marnie hasn't signed this document, and John Marnie actually has to. Any lawyer, whoever acts, has to sign this signature of legal representative. Look, I mean, it's right there in front of you. Signature of plaintiff solicitor. I certify that under clause whatever, there are reasonable grounds for believing on the basis of provable facts and a reasonably arguable view of the law that the claim for damages in these proceedings has reasonable prospects of success. That is why John Marnie needs to sign this, to say, okay, we're not here to waste the court's time. We're not here to waste the court's time. And John Marnie's putting his signature on a piece of paper to say, well, we're not wasting the court's time. Okay, well that signature didn't happen on the 2nd of March last year. Now think, that's coming up to 10 months. Is that right? 10 months. 10 months. It hasn't been signed. 10 months have gone by. And what's happened with this case? Well, I'll tell you. Nothing. Nothing has happened. So this is some correspondence. Now this is a court document. This is a court order. This is all public. On the 7th of December, the court ordered. The court order. This matter is listed for directions on the 10th of February. So much has occurred since it was listed on the 2nd of March that we need a break. I mean, we're just so productive. So we're gonna push it out to 11 months there. So 10th of February is more than 11 months since it was filed. And what's happened? Nothing. So, and why has nothing happened? Now, who are the parties? Let's just remind ourselves, who are the parties? So we've got Ralph and Reliance. Parties. Ralph Ignatius Palagaro, plaintiff. Defendant, Reliance Leasing. So they're the parties and the disputes between them. So you would think that has to be resolved between them. But no. So these aren't my words. These are the words of John Mahoney and Tim Horn. Tim Horn was my lawyer. Okay, let's just refresh. Tim Horn signed this consent judgment on behalf of capacity solicitor. Defendant consents. Yeah, defendant consents. Ralph and Amrita consent. Consent judgment. That's why it's called a consent judgment. It's judgment by consent. Yeah, we all agree. We're consenting. Yet I'm not even a party. So why does Tim Horn say and John Mahoney agree? What do they agree? This is on the 7th of December. 7th of December. Request submitted by Tim Horn for me? Nope. No. For Reliance Leasing. Case Palagaro versus Reliance Leasing. The request is that the matter be listed for directions in February. Reasons. The intended settlement of this matter, it's got nothing to do with me, so I'm not even a party, has been frustrated by a third party. By a third party who's going to get nothing out of it, absolutely nothing. The third party's frustrated this. So remind ourselves, this authority was to pay me? No. So my company gets possession of the loan on the 1st of September 2017. There's this elaborate pea and thimble trick, whatever you want to call it. Maybe it's not a trick, maybe it is. There's going to be a dispersal from Reliance back into Reliance. Why does Reliance have to take money out of this pocket and stick it in that one? Why do they even have to do that? Well, because we've got a deed here. We've got a deed of settlement. All the fights, they're now over, and we've solemnly sat down. We've resolved our differences. Yet Mark Smith is now frustrating things. How's Mark Smith frustrating this? Not even a party. We're instructed that there remains a possibility that this will be resolved shortly, and in light of this, so I'm just telling you, it's Christmas Eve. If someone wants to resolve this, well, they're probably going to have to do something about this. If you owned a piece of property and called this debt, and Reliance Leasing is proposing, how about we pay you nothing? Yet Tim Horn's a very intelligent man. He can go off to the court and say it's Mark Smith's fault because he's frustrating things. I would say that we are instructed there remains a possibility that this will be resolved shortly. Now, pigs might fly. Unless $105,000 lands up in my pocket, plus the interest, or, whatever, then the court's time is just being completely wasted by these two very intelligent people called Tim Horn, and the other party to this is John Mahoney. They're both lawyers and their clients. Pigs might fly. We're instructed that there is a possibility this will be resolved shortly. So that's addressing whether this loan is real. Now we'll go back and we'll look some more into this. John Mahoney, great lawyer. Okay, he's handling this. He's running the show. He's the plaintiff's solicitor, and we've got Ralph Ignatius Palagaro suing Reliance Leasing. So let's have a look at this summons. And this is where are they now? I'm just saying this is where they are. I'm not making any judgments. I'm just saying this is where they are. Relief claimed. A declaration that the loan agreement of the 26th of May is valid and enforceable. So John Mahoney is after declarations. What is the loan agreement of the 26th of May? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here's a copy, and this is a document to effectively recycle money. So John Marnie is after a declaration that this piece of paper is actually valid. I mean, wouldn't you start with the assumption that if we sign this piece of paper, it's valid? So why would it be invalid? Is it a mirage? I don't know. So the Supreme Court of New South Wales, its time's being taken up, and vast money is being spent to determine if this is some sort of scam or mirage, or if it's a declaration that it's valid and enforceable. So the borrower wants a declaration from the Supreme Court that this loan is enforceable. But hang on, that's the borrower saying that it's a loan and it's an enforceable loan against the lender. Well, hang on, it's usually the reverse. It's usually the lender saying, oh, hang on, we want a declaration that Ralph owes the money. But no. This is, we're after a declaration that it ought to be specifically performed. An order that the defendant specifically perform and carry into effect the loan. So give us the money. Give us the money. So, okay, this is interesting, isn't it? So we've got this, I won't go into the details because it's confidential, but there is a deed. And all the parties on the 11th of March, yes, 2.5 months before this date, they had a big dispute and they agreed to settle. Okay, fine. But, so, hang on, the parties, DCP litigation, Reliance, Ralph and his wife. Okay, well that's interesting. So, let's have a look at the parties on this, the summons. Who are the parties? Oh, well, it was only Ralph and Reliance. Oh, now this is interesting. This is normally something that you file something, you normally have to sign it. You put it in the Supreme Court. Where's the signature? I mean, can you see it there? Anyone? So it's an unsigned document. Who are the parties? Okay, this is Ralph and Reliance. So on the 11th of March, all the parties agreed to settle. Okay, right. And then on the 26th of May, there's this agreement to recycle money. But hang on, didn't we just settle? I mean, it gets stranger. So 11th of May, we have this agreement, and and 11th of May, we got John Marnie's signature on this document for Ralph and Amrita. So everyone agrees. If we don't do what was agreed to be settled, well, you can go and get a judgment. So this is a consent judgment. We consent that if we're going to do all these things that we agree in March, and if we don't, then you can go and file this. And they give us the consent judgment up front, signed by John Marnie, and later it's signed by the same people, Tim Horn, Reliance Leasing. Now he happened to be my lawyers as well, and Tim signs this. He was authorised to do so, and he was instructed. He was given a written instruction by Reliance Leasing on the 3rd of July. Let's go ahead and get this consent judgment, because this deed, it hasn't worked out. But hang on, Ralph is seeking specific performance of a loan, that you must lend me money, that I'm in breach of this, but you must lend me $105,500. And what to do? Does Ralph want to get these $105,000? No. No, here's the authority. Just take that from one pocket and stick it in the other. I'm going to the Supreme Court to force you to take money out of this pocket and put it into that pocket. Wow, I mean, are you confused? What's the point of all of this? Yeah, like, it does seem like a bit like smoke and mirrors. So it's a very and I mean, this is a loan, by the way, loan 1899. Now let's go back in time to the 1st of September 2017. 1899. Oh, there you go, 1899. So this is a loan that he doesn't even. That Ralph wants a order that Reliance specifically perform to take it from this pocket and stick it in that pocket. But on the 1st of September 2017, dear Ralph, Reliance Leasing this is, 1st of September, dear Ralph, Reliance Leasing hereby gives you notice that they no longer own the debt. So where are they now? This is some sort of elaborate P and Thimble something, maybe, I don't know. Reliance Leasing gives you notice that they no longer own the debt, and that absolutely, all its rights, title and interest under the loan agreement, guarantee, securities, it's giving to my company. Absolutely. Oh, there's the magic words. And it's the loan agreement of the 18th of July. And Ralph's got a copy of this because I sent a process server in September 2017. I've got an affidavit of service that Ralph was served this document. It's only 2 pages, but Ralph neglected to acknowledge it, but Ralph was served. And he's now saying, well, in May of 2020, 26th of May 2020, a debt that was the subject of this settlement deed that involves the replacement, it's called the assignee, Ralph is now seeking declarations, not against me, that Reliance Leasing must take their own money out of their own pocket and shove it in the other pocket, and not give any of it to the actual owner. So if you've spent 4 years from 2017 through to 2021 pursuing $100,000, and then you sign these deeds, and you don't actually know about this. This happens all behind your back, and then on the 17th of July, your lawyer, who happens to be Reliance's lawyer, they agree. Well, none of these things that were supposed to happen under this deed happened, so let's go and enforce our judgment. It must sound very puzzling. It must sound extremely strange. So that's where Ralph is. He's not suing me. He's suing Gary Steinberg. He's suing Reliance, and he's saying you must lend us this. These aren't my words. These are Ralph's words. We can have a look. Ralph has sworn an affidavit, so that's sworn on the 2nd of March, and these are all his words. Long story, but maybe what Ralph is saying is that there was a meeting that I didn't attend, that I didn't even know about. During the meeting, Ralph had a conversation with Mr. Steinberg to the effect, Ralph, this is a loan agreement which will refinance the original loan. Well, hang on, the original loan? Oh, this one that you signed over to me? Yeah, that one. 1899. Yeah, 1899. The affidavit, and this is Ralph has sworn. I wasn't there. I don't know. This is what Ralph swears has occurred. Ralph, this is a loan agreement which will refinance your original loan. I'm prepared to agree to refinance that loan in full in the sum of $105,500. That's all you need to pay off the loan. Pay it to me. Pay it to Gary Steinberg, Reliance. Ralph. Oh, so despite Smith having taken over the loan, yeah, that's right. Smith took it over. When did he take that over? Let's just refresh ourselves. 1st of September 2017. This is what Ralph swears. So despite Smith taking over the loan, you will arrange for Smith to take no action under the deed signed in March, such that once I sign this agreement, all previous agreements relating to the original loan will have been replaced by this agreement. Now, this is a two-party. Apparently, this is a two-party agreement. I'm not one of the parties. And I think what Ralph's getting at here is Gary saying, well, he's my agent. Really? Be nice to know that, wouldn't it? So, if I've got anger and with someone, and where's that anger now? Well, maybe it's it'd be like if you went into Westpac and said, hey, my loan with the Commonwealth Bank, can you just make it go away? Westpac would say, you're an idiot, get out, I'll call the nut jobs. But anyway, Ralph's having this conversation with Gary Steinberg. Apparently this is what Ralph says the conversation went like. So all previous arrangements relating to the original loan will be replaced. Is that what's going to happen? Gary, yeah, that is right. Yes, that is right. I mean, that's fairly clear. Yes, that is right. Leave it to me. I will take care of Smith. Really? I will take. Okay. How's that going to work? I will take care of Smith. I will take care of Smith. So on the 1st of October, when I'm lying there in hospital, with tubes hanging out me and stents, and having a heart attack, wow, I was being taken care of. I'm actually getting text messages by this pair, by Ralph and Gary. Oh, taking care of me. I got a Christmas wish today. Today's the 24th of December. I wish you, I wish you well. From Gary. He's taking care with words. No. We want Gary to take care with money, cash. Gary to Ralph. This is on the 26th of May. Also, you only need to pay me what you can afford. Hang on. You pay me to pay off the loan to Smith, and I'll take care of Smith. But you only need to pay me what you can afford. Minimum $1,000. So even if you can't afford $1,000, you pay it to me, and I'll take care of Smith. Ralph. Yes, $1,000 is about as much as I can pay, and I agree that will be the repayment. Now, I wasn't there, but this is what they swear. This is what Ralph swears. Also, as you have no income other than the mill in Fiji, you won't have to commence payment under this loan until you start making money. Like, this is in the middle of COVID. 2 years go by, and Gary's giving undertakings, apparently for me. And then the timber mill suddenly blows over in a cyclone. Very, very tragic. A lot of destruction. So, I think what Gary's saying here is you don't have to worry about making any payments. I'll take care of Smith. Yes, Gary, I agree. I will commence payments as soon as the mill starts making money for me. And of course, the mill's destroyed. So, so Ralph is forever let off this agreement, apparently. And I wasn't even there. I wasn't there, and I agreed somehow through Gary Steinberg, my agent. That's apparently how it all goes. So, Ralph is seeking declarations that this is valid, that Gary must remove money from this pocket and stick it in that pocket, and that makes Mark Smith go away. Despite that, so this is on the 26th of May, but in July of the same year, last year, Gary tells his and my lawyer, Tim Horn, yep, sign. Now, this is what an election looks like. When you sign something like this and then you file it in the court, you have elected, you're never going back on it. So, are you getting the gist of what I think of Gary Steinberg? What I think of and how I now view these notices of assignment, and how I feel about being taken care of in this way. I hope that tells you where they are now. Okay, we're going to deep dive in season 2. Deep dive, and when I say deep, like, it may be a series of dives. I actually think that there's a lot here, so we're not going to get into these in huge detail today, but we're just going to quickly have a look at Westpac. We're going to have a look at a couple of more things to do with Gary, Reliance, Marnie, that whole mess. We may come back to 131 MVR as that progresses, depending on what the liquidator does and so on. We are interested, and we're a creditor, and this is fair game. Andrew Gartrell. Very long story. Adam Tilley. Now, this is a guy that loaned money to Craig Adams, and then subsequently loaned money to Ralph Pellegaru. And that's not a crime, but well, we're going to look at him in season 2 as well. Adam Tilley. Now, Pacific 8, Cassinda. Oh, Justin Hatfield. Now, Justin Hatfield's fingerprints were on lots and lots of these documents that were given to Adam Tilley. And look, we may need to come back and have a look at Aqualaw. I'm very, very disappointed with them, and so we'll just have a look at it. Now, moving on to Westpac. Well, we've touched on Westpac, and there are a few things on our blog already. There's a Westpac who, a why, a where, and a how. But just in the very briefest of terms, how? What is Westpac about? There is quite a lot to this. There really actually is quite a lot to Westpac, and we'll start with these submissions, and these are submissions that were given to the Supreme Court of New South Wales. I'm certainly not accusing the barristers of any wrongdoing, but I am saying that someone misled the barristers, and so that is the scandal. It's Mr. Ollis had this seemingly magic checkbook that he could write out checks for 200,000, 50,000, 400,000, and they would just magically put money in his account every day. And well, that's bad enough, but the real scandal, and Mr. Ollis did not go to jail, so he was not convicted of any fraud. He wasn't even charged with any fraud. So no one's accusing him of anything, although he did write checks. If we go now to, well, let's have a look at this individual. This word individual only appears once in this document, and it appears in paragraph 38, and it says that it is clear, and this is what I'm saying the scandal is. It is clear on the evidence, so this is what the barristers are writing, it is clear on the evidence, or at least the evidence that the barristers have seen. So if they haven't seen it, well, they're not misleading anyone, but if they were not shown it, that's what I'm saying may well be the scandal. It is clear on the evidence that the bank made these payments. Well, they certainly made payments, and we're going to show you the bank statements in a moment, and that no individual. So that's fairly clear. No individual within the bank knew. So maybe the computer knew, but they're saying, these barristers in their submissions to the Supreme Court say that no individual Within the bank. Okay. So was that someone outside the bank that knew? This is, well, that's interesting. No individual within the bank. So that does not mean that individuals outside the bank didn't know, but this is the evidence. They're saying the evidence is that no individuals within the bank knew until, so the first individual in the bank knew on the 12th of January 2006. And I am saying that that is false. Now, I'm not accusing the barristers of anything. They may well have been kept in the dark. Or maybe it was an individual outside the bank that knew. Very interesting. No individual. Well, sorry, I keep seeing new things. Until the 12th of January of the drawings being made by Ollis on his business account. So let's have a look at this business account and see what were those drawings. And you be the judge. Like this is only a shallow dive. But we're going to say, I'm saying people inside the bank actually knew. These bank statements are 72 pages long. On every single page is stuff. But this word invalid, now the submission was until the 12th of January 2006. Well, I'm saying here's the bank statement 7 months earlier on the 17th of June, and I'm saying that an individual in the bank wrote the word invalid, and that is knowledge. They knew on that day. They knew that this was there was an invalidity. Now that's not what the submissions say. They say no one knew of the drawings. So we're kind of splitting hairs here, but someone knew that there was this invalid replenishment authority, and at this point on the 17th of June he was writing checks for $40,000, and there was replenishments happening of $40,018 on that day. Now let's march on to page say 60, and I have absolutely so much. The credits, there's $10.3 million going in and out of the account. I mean, wow. I wonder if that was normal, and I wonder if anyone was watching this. I'm going to say no. So this bloke would come to work every morning and there'd be $0 in the account, and then by December this is $4.5 million just turns up in his bank account in the morning. Wow, that's a good day. $4.1 million. He'd write on the 1st of December, he wrote a check for $400,000. Now, if we go back to the previous one on the 17th of June, he's only writing checks for $40,000, and in 6 months he's gotten bolder, and he's now writing checks for $400,000, and they're still being honoured. But the evidence, the submissions were that no individual within the bank knew until the 12th of January, and I'm calling that BS. And if we go on to the next page, yeah, this time instead of writing the word invalid, someone's written their PCO status. These are bits of evidence of knowledge. So again, we'll do a deep dive, and we'll get into this in more detail. Now let's go and have a further look at some of the things that we're going to look at in season 2. And I mentioned Steinberg. We're going to have a look at this seemingly innocuous case, National Australia Bank and Smith. Now I'm not making any of this up, and by the way, that's not me. That's someone else by that name. This is a case that was heard in 2013, and you know, this is a public document. And GHS, that's a related company of Reliance. They were part of it. We're going to go into this case, so that's something we're going to have a good dive at. We're also going to have a look at Mr. Marnie, and Mr. Marnie is a borrower of Reliance. So Gary Steinberg, one of his borrowers, is Reliance, and Gary gets a mention in this as well, and Reliance Leasing. So this is again, this is real. This is something that anyone can go to caselaw.nsw.gov and put in the name Marnie, and the Council of the Law Society took on Mr. Marnie. And what did they take him on for? Well, let's have a look at this. They took an objection to the complaint. The solicitor falsely witnessed the signature of this particular person, and who should be there but Mr. Steinberg. Mr. Steinberg's here as well. So Mr. Steinberg gets around, and I was unaware of some of these things, but Mr. Steinberg goes back further with people, and if we jump to this matter of NAB and Smith, well, that's also involves Mr. Steinberg, and there's problems with the signature on documents there as well. So these are not my opinions. This is not. These are factual findings. The Supreme Court or the Civil Administrative Tribunal in the case of the Marnie one, and Mr. Steinberg seems to find his way into these situations all the time. Andrew Gartrell has a problem with the signature as well, and Andrew Gartrell, he knows Gary Steinberg as well, and Adam Tilley. Well, Adam Tilley, I don't know how well he knows Mr. Steinberg, although they do know each other. And Ben and Tim Horn, they know Mr. Steinberg. Marnie knows Mr. Steinberg. Mohan Kumar, he's met Mr. Steinberg. And Ralph Palagaru, well, the only people here that don't know each other, Steinberg knows 131 MVR, and he's a creditor of that as well. This is, very troubling. So these are some of the things that we're going to look at in season 2. There's going to be plenty more, so stay tuned. And I'll come back and we'll wrap up now. Well, look, in closing, thank you so much for joining us in 2021 and 2020, and hopefully you're joining us again in 2022. We appreciate your efforts. We appreciate the messages of support. We appreciate the instant chat tools. If you have any questions, give us a call, 1300 327 123, or come and visit us in the bottom right-hand corner of our website, dcpartners.solutions/podcast, and you can instant chat with us there in the bottom right-hand corner. If you've got any questions at all, you want to talk to us, you want to send us an email, whatever, you can call us again. As I said, 1300 327 123. My name's Mark Smith. I'd love to talk to you. I'm very keen. I'm very willing to talk to anyone, anytime, about anything. So give us a call. Happy Christmas. Happy New Year. I hope it's a great 2022, and thank you again. See you soon.